Hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls out there. I hope you're getting out in nature like Starlight is, and you know, it is so beautiful out here, even though right now the clouds are covering the sun, but you wait, that sun is going to be popping out again very soon, and I really just want to inspire all of you. Yeah, you, come on, get off the couch, get off the sofa, you know, let go of the remote control and, come on out in nature. Yeah. Come out by yourself. Yeah, you can come out by yourself or bring your family, bring your kids, bring your husband, bring your wife, grandpa, grandma. Yes. Bring them all, go, come out and get out in nature and, make a day of it. Bring your family out or friends. And if you have dogs, they will love you. Just make sure you got some snacks on the way, some bags, and plenty of water for everyone. The people don't need a doggy bag, but the dogs will need it. You always bring a doggy bag just in case they don't have them at a park, because shit happens, right? So anyway, I love you all, and this is Starlight, and you can follow me on my YouTube channel, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you could give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't forget, you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Swing by and say hi to Starlight, and thank you. I gotta say thank you, all of you, and you, and you, and you, and you. Thank you. A lot of people are loving and supporting Starlight, and thank you all for all of you that are new, that recently subscribed to my YouTube channel. Plus, all of you that give me thumbs up or share my videos, please. It's not about me, it's about the future of the kids. It's for all of us. So, and not only to share my videos, is thank you for all of you that leave me a message down below. Plus, you can also, besides saying thank you to all of you for being here and loving the support in Starlight, is you can also check out my playlist, and you can find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. So here we are. I know some of you are so excited because Starlight's out hiking again, or walking around at a beautiful park, or, Starlight's somewhere in the United States. So here we go. So today you're probably wondering, well, you pushed the thumb, right? So today's video is about going on that journey of self-discovery. And look at how beautiful this starts out, and that's what Starlight is doing. I know some of you are lost and confused of what Starlight's doing and why Starlight's doing what she's doing. Why does Starlight not go get a job? Well, when you are called of God, you know what? You listen to God. You don't, really, you could try to make all the, changes in your life and, pull away from what God is doing. And I'll tell you what, you're not going to get very far if you're not really where God wants you. Starlight has tried to go get a job before. Guess what? It's not what God wanted. I could have gone out and tried to get another job, but guess what? It wouldn't have worked. Why? Because God has pulled me out. Like I said in the other video, I am one of the chosen ones. That is in the Bible about the chosen ones. And like I said in that other video, is you could be a chosen one. And if God is calling you, you better listen. I'll tell you, you better listen to that call that God, when God chooses you and God says, hey, I need you. This is your time right now to serve. You really are going to want to do what God does, because we, a lot of times, just like Starlight is no angel. We think that, we're in control of our life, and you should be to a point, but God's number one, is when God tells you to do something. God loves us so much, and God is very patient with his children. And so being that God is so patient, is God's the perfect example of a perfect father. The way God works on his children and disciplines them in such a way with love and care. And I am so thankful. I'm sorry, this is like I've never been here, so I don't know where I'm going on this trail. But so God is so patient with his children. And, but when God says something, when he says something, he follows through. But because God's an energy. But so when God tells his children something, and I have to say, a lot of parents, including Starlight when she was younger, bringing her kids up, how many of you parents have told your kids, like, if you do that one more time, I'm going to get up and I'm going to spank your butt? Well, how many times did they keep on doing what they were doing? And did you ever really take care of the problem? How many times? Was it like 20 times before you actually got up? And that is a thing about parenting is, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. People think because they see how it looks like out in the public view that it looks like an easy job, but it's not an easy job. It takes a lot of patience. Children are going to teach you patience, and God is always teaching patience to Starlight, so that is one of the things on this journey here, is to learn patience. You have to learn patience. If you don't learn patience, you're going to be in a whole heap of trouble, and you're going to go through a lot of stuff. Things are not going to go the way you think. And so this video here is about finding out who you are, self-discovery. And Starlight is going to let you know the things that she's learned on this journey as far as a self-discovery. And this is the most important job that you can ever have in your life. It's not going to the workplace at the 9 to 5, it's working on yourself. It's finding out who you are and why are you here, and I'll tell you what, I needed this, because I already signed up to this. I believe in my past lifetime, where I told God that, yes, sign me up for this. So here I am. I am one of the chosen. Whether you could be chosen where either you were picked or you raised your hand and said that you want to come back here. Look at how beautiful this is. See? Look at this. See, now I'm only able to do this right here because I obeyed God. And does Starlight always obey God all the time? Do any of us? So there's been many times that Starlight, was confused, didn't know, how important things were on this journey of self-discovery. And, God has been teaching me some valuable lessons on this journey, and it has not been a party, I'll tell you that, is to be on this journey here of a self-discovery, letting go of old self-limiting beliefs, letting go of old programs that no longer serve me. Finding out who you are is you're going to go through a lot in life. And that means that, to find out who you are, you got to let go of people who you love. Why is that, Starlight? Why do you got to let go of people you love? Well, it's because you got to be alone to find out who you are. How are you going to find out who you are if you're around a whole bunch of people that are pulling you in different directions where that's not where you belong? So you have to learn how to let go of people who are no longer serving you, and that is the part of this journey. So since I'm over here, I'm peeky-booing out here. So I'm just gonna go back over here. So and I'm gonna tell you that not only Starlight is out finding out who she is, there's a whole bunch of other people in the world that are, God has chosen. And and I said, if you're a black sheep of the family, most of the time that's what it is the black sheep of the family are picked and chosen. It's their time to serve and do whatever God is guiding them to do. So my journey is not going to be like somebody else's. We all have our own things that we're supposed to do here on planet Earth. This is so beautiful. So when you're on this self-discovering journey, like I was saying, is that you got to let go. You're going to have to let go of people that you love. It's not that you don't love them. This is really hard to see because it's shade and sun, but these are a lot of twisted trees here. That's really cool. So you're going to have to learn to let go of people who you love, people that you thought, I thought you were my friend, I thought you were my friend, and then you realize that you were not my friend. You were criticizing me, calling me names, judging me. Those aren't your friends. The ones that are your friends are the ones that, are going to give you it straight up, and they're not going to beat around the bush. They're going to really get in your face with love and kindness and say, hey, there's areas that I see that you need to, work on. I love you, and I want to see they always are looking out for the best of you. They want to see you grow. They want, they're that friend that, if you go somewhere and it's not safe, they're going to be that friend to say, maybe you shouldn't go there. They're not people that are going to control you. No, they're people that love you. I'm actually going to turn around because this is a dead end. So they're the people that love you, and they're going to tell you what you want to hear, whether you like it or not. They're the ones that are going to use their voice. Those are their friends, the ones that are not afraid to speak when they need to say something. So those are the kind of people that we really need in our reality. And so letting go of people, family, it could be your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your kids. You might have to let go of your kids. You might have to let go of people that you thought would be there for your rest of your life. It's like, man, I thought we were gonna be buddies all through my whole life, and then you realize that God is removing those people, and because God has a plan for you, God wants to pull you away because they're only distracting you to really what you're here to do. So other things that you're going to do on this self-discovery is go through a healing. And it is painful going through a healing. It's not no picnic when you have to learn that you got to heal yourself and work on yourself. I'm looking around. Starlight is looking around. I have a map now. This time I have a map. Starlight has a map this time. I'm not in a good spot here. So Starlight is waiting because this is lots of cars out here and people travel through. Whoops. Okay. So yeah, so like I was saying, is healing is needed when you're going on a self-discovery. So I'm just preparing you for this. When you're chosen of God, you know what? Get ready to, men, this goes for you too, not just the women. It's not just for women on this part. It's going to be a lot of tears, a lot of crying. Yeah. It's facing parts of you, that you need to get healed from. You need to face different flaws in your life and things that you have deep within inside of you that God's going to bring these things up to the surface so you can heal from them, So it's going to feel like you're shedding a lot of stuff out of your life, and it's a very painful, like a butterfly going through a metaphor. I only could say that word if I could see it. When the caterpillar goes through the stages of a butterfly, if I see the word, I can read it. It just that if I can't visualize the word. So yeah, so when the caterpillar, you know, it has it goes through a lot of pain. You know, it's like dying of self, and that is what we need to do on this self-discovery, is to you know, shed layers of our old nature of ourself, our old versions of ourselves, you know, and to let go of things in our life that no longer serves us, habits that we, you know, that we need to let go of, you know, our old ways of thinking. We got to shed that. We got to shed so many things. So the thing that Starlight is doing, this is not an easy thing. And Starlight has cried many, many times on this journey. And it's because God is bringing things up to the surface so I could see it. And then I know that I got to release that out of my body, out of my spirit, you know, and give it over to God instead of holding that inside of me, where, you know, it's not good to hold those things inside of you. That's why we have to let those things come up and not run away from those emotions when they do come up, is to face those and to put our pride down, not let the ego, you know, get in the way by, you know, not working on those parts of us. It's about forgiving yourself, you know, forgiving yourself for making wrong choices in your life and going with the wrong people, doing the wrong things. You know, it's facing yourself and getting right with yourself and God. This is what this journey is about, you know. So we've been all lied to and deceived, you know. There's a lot of people out in the world, they gave up on God. They don't believe that there's a God because they believe what everybody else is telling them, and those people are leading them astray. But God loves those people, and God loves everyone, you know. So you got to really be careful of the things that you believe out in the world, because even the news, of course, if you watch the news, you know that the news people lie to us, you know, like even with COVID time, those things that they were saying weren't all true, you know, and a lot of people fell for it, you know, and believed in this stuff and was afraid, you know, of the stuff with COVID, and then find out later, you know, they were lying. They weren't being honest with us. So there's so many things that the TV. I was making a video and my storage was full because Starlight's got all these pictures and videos. Starlight, what are you doing? So anyway, now I'm gonna continue somewhat where I ended, and just to finish this video. So I'm so sorry, but you're gonna say, Starlight, thank you anyway, because this, where I'm taking you, is beautiful. So you're gonna enjoy this beautiful scenery. So come on out and come with Starlight. So anyway, like I was saying, is we've been lied to throughout our whole life, and we've been deceived, and that is what this video is about discovering yourself. And you got to realize that we've been lied to. We all have been lied to. So we're going to bring you down here. Oh, look at that, twos, all the twos. So this is a beautiful spot. I was just checking this out. So they have names of all these people on this area here, and it starts from the center. But this is not why Starlight is out here to make a video like this, but maybe I can do a video like that. It starts out in the center. But this is such a beautiful place. So this is the circle of friends. Life's touched by AIDS. So yeah, so it's for the people and their families that miss these AIDS. So anyway, here we go. This is a beautiful area, all nice and shaded. And I'm just going to keep talking. I'm not going to describe what is out here. You can look at that as I walk. But anyway, like I was saying in the last part of my video, is how we've been deceived. So really, you got to really be careful of what you believe on the news, you know, even what your friends or family tell you, because there's a lot going on in the world right now. And we have to really prepare ourselves for the things that are coming. And, and this is why Starlight is out here, because God has sent me out here ahead of time, to get ready and prepared and learn how to do everything. And to learn to live off the, like in my car. And like I mentioned in other videos, a lot of people are going to go through a lot of stuff, but this video is about self-discovery. The most important thing, you might think I'm crazy when I say this, but find out who you are, self-discovery. And like I was mentioning before, of how you got to go through healing, you got to face your shadow side. Starlight's going to cut through the grass here, so this self-discovery is not a joke. And there's so many other beautiful light workers out there, chosen ones that are out there that are serving people one way or another. And this could be in a hospital, this could be people feeding the homeless people, could be people that are making videos on YouTube, all kinds of different people out in the world that could be a light worker. And you could be one of those, or a chosen one, that are out here to serve people. And you could be even a person that works with kids and helping them out. There's so many different people that could be out in the world to help other people to get ready for what is coming. And so the most important thing that you can do is find out who you are. And like I just told somebody today, is by finding out who you are, that means that you gotta let go of people that could be tripping you up. And that's what I was saying a few minutes ago, is be careful of who you believe and who you trust out in the world, because you're going to get people that are watching the news. And just like COVID, the same shit with COVID, how many of you, had friends or family? We all have friends or family somewhere. And actually, I'm going to go down because that's going to take me to the road. Is when COVID came, you could have said, just like Starlight, and I have to say, my family, every single family member was against taking the injection. So I was grateful for that. Every single family member, except for one actually. One actually got deceived and ended up taking the injection. But my family members, there was some that were forced to take that injection because they were at a job, Other people got pressured in, they did not want to take it, but they were pressured in, but I didn't have any family members that were trying to persuade me into taking the injection. That is what I'm talking about. Not one family member said, hey, you ought to get that injection. So I am so grateful that my family did not try to pressure me in. So during this time, you got to be really careful of the kind of people that you listen to, because they're going to watch the news. And, when that fear sets in, just like with COVID, is people are going to put their fears onto you, and you might be going in one direction. And that's how this works with the Matrix, is that they're going to try to turn you around and go and get you afraid and get you to follow them and do everything that they're doing. And you got to be wise. You got to be sharp right now. I am not kidding. You got to be really sharp on the things that you choose. Don't let anybody, tell you what to do and force you to do something that goes against what you want to do, So you really got to be prepared. And to get your children, train up your children and teach them this stuff while they're young. Let them, teach your children as they're growing up, is to don't let other people control them. The children need to understand that they don't have to, when they become adults, they don't have to listen to what other people tell them to do. They have to have a mind of their own to decide on their own what they want to do and what they want to choose, what they believe is right for them. So you need to train up your children that way, so then other people are not going to force them to do something against their free will. And so that is, you got to teach them to find out who they are, so not only you need to find out who you are, you need to let your kids at a certain age, let them figure out what kind of hairstyle they want, or some of you might give your children like so much money or whatever to, whether you buy their clothes for them or not, but, teach them things of how to, like find out who they are and not to be controlled by other people. And this is how we can change the things in the world, this is why I'm reaching out to adults right now. I'll just show you how beautiful this is that we need to work on ourselves and then teach our children the same things, so we don't keep on repeating the same stuff over and over again. If we need to help the children to have a better future by teaching them to have a voice, teach them to express themselves. They need to have a voice when they're young, so when they get older, when they're adults, they don't have a problem with voicing what they need to say, and standing up for themselves. That's the kind of children that you want to bring up. You don't want to, you want to have your kids, to find out who they are and find out what kind of thing that they want to do for later on in their future. Don't try to control your kids on what they should turn out to be when they're older. Let them figure out what they want to do when they're older. Let them find out the kind of job that they want and what kind of thing that they want to do. You have to be wise on bringing your children up and teaching them to find out who they are. And so on this video, it's about self-discovery, but it's not about finding out who you are. Is to teach your children, is have them to have a voice, teach them, to say no to people, teach them to have boundaries, teach them to be safe, teach them not to believe in everything that they hear. You gotta teach them that everything that you hear on the news is not real. You gotta teach them that everything that even family or friends say isn't real. Some people, they live off on their own fears and they put it on other people, just like COVID time. When I had my own business, that's exactly what was going on. And that's why God pulled me out of my cleaning business. It wasn't because I didn't want to be there. It's God took me out. Almost every single client that I had tried to force me to get in that injection or to wear a mask every single time I was in or out of that house. So I turn around. So don't let other people control you. It's your body. And that is why I'm not in that business anymore, because people were threatening that I was going to lose them as a client if I didn't go get that injection. There was no proof that the injection was even working to help people not to get the COVID. Hang on. So you got to find out who you are, and on this journey, like I said, it's going to be you're going to have your high times. It's not all about the low times, about on a self-discovery. There's going to be times, we're going to shed some old skin that we don't need anymore, like a snake. And then there's going to be times that we're going to be so happy and joyous because we know what the truth is, and the truth will set you free. And that's what you need, is you need to know what the truth is in life. And when you work on yourself and find out who you are, that's when you're going to find out the truth in the world, and you're not going to believe all the lies that we've been fed our whole life. So anyway, I love you so much, and this is so vitally important, is to don't give up in working on yourself, and think of something. I'm telling you, think of something that you can do, like your own business for later on, where you don't have to answer to another person. Is find a way of making business online. If you, really, to me, I would be on the computers making something, like I'm a YouTuber, because that could be one of the best things that you could do for yourself, like, because if they want to control different things, even as far as you getting out of your house, at least you can work on a computer, so you got to really be wise and think ahead of time. Even with the robots, what kind of job you can create your own stuff, create your own business. That is, to me, is the best way of making an income for you and your family, is by creating your own business where you don't have to work for a company, and that company, just like with COVID, or they could shut you out. They could say, hey, You know, they could control you and tell you what to do and force you to do things against your own free will. And that is what you don't want. You want to be ahead of the game, and you got to think smart in these times right now. So, you know, think about starting your own business, and something that you would love instead of something that you can't stand, you know. And you can have your own hours, you can set your own time, your own pay, you know. Be clever, be smart. You know, you could plan this now ahead of time, you know, but work on yourself, really. You got to work on yourself, and you know, teach that to your children. Teach your children to question everything, get them to ask questions. Don't shut your kids out because they ask questions. You know, having your kids ask questions is the best thing, but when your kids ask questions, make sure you got good answers. You know, if you don't know the answer, go and study it. Go find out what it is that that child needs to know. You know, don't lie to your children. Let them know the truth, because the truth is going to set them free. You know, so I love you so much, and I just had a man give me a thumbs up because of that statement. He was walking a whole bunch of dogs, and really those children need to know the truth, you know, because you don't want to feed them a whole bunch of lies that we've been fed, right? So I love you, and this is amazing, beautiful day out here. And so anyway, I love you so much. This is Starlight. You could give me a thumbs up. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't forget, you can leave me a message down below, beep, beep, beep. And you could share my videos. You could share my videos with your family or friends. A bear, or let's see, a snake. Or also you can follow me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. I love you all. So it's not about just finding out who you are. Teach your children to find out who they are. You know, teach them how to find out who they are. Teach them how to use their voice. You know, let them ask questions. You know, don't shut your kids out because they have a question. And don't just, you know, make up some stupid, you know, I've known people doing this. This is why Starlight's like, "Rrr." Don't just give them any freaking answer just to shut them up and get them out of your way. No, please. If you don't know the answer, tell them, that was a great question. I'm going to get back to you. And don't forget, that child has a question. As parents, we need to find that answer for them, and, you know, Google it, find out, you know, and really make sure what you're telling your child is the right thing. They need to know the truth, and the truth will set them free, and encourage them to ask questions. I love that stage when the little kids are so little. But why? You know, we got to go to the store. But why? Well, we got to go get food. But why? Well, we got to eat. Well, why? Well, because we are hungry and we got to eat. But why? Well, if we don't eat, then we're going to have problems. We're going to get sick. We got to eat. But why? So let the kids ask questions. Ask, you know, let them ask. That's how they're going to learn. Because I've known many parents. This is what they do. They don't want to take the time and answer those questions. Well, if you don't want to take the time to answer the questions on why, you know, where did we come from? If you can't answer your kids these questions and be that kind of parent to be there when it's so important for them to know why and how things work, then don't be a parent. You know, we need better parents in this world so we can raise, you know, have kids that are on top of things, and that they understand things, how they work, so they're not deceived. So anyway, whew, I love you so much, and you could give this video a thumbs up, like I said, and I love you so much. It's so important. We do this not just for ourselves, but for our children, and our children's, and their children. I'm out of breath because it's hard talking and walking, and I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.